Johnstown, Pennsylvania, 1889. It was a thriving, self-made American city, a hub of the burgeoning steel industry. This vibrant community, home to over 30,000 residents, was a testament to American ingenuity and hard work, a place where fortunes were forged in fire and iron. Its prosperity and very existence were inextricably linked to the powerful rivers that flowed through its heart, the Little Conemaugh and Stony Creek. These waterways were not only vital for industry, but also shaped the landscape and daily life of the city, providing both sustenance and a means of transport. However, just 14 miles upstream, nestled discreetly within the surrounding hills, lay a colossal and largely unseen threat, the South Fork Dam. This massive earthen structure, though seemingly benign, held back an immense volume of water, a silent menace to the unsuspecting city below. The South Fork Dam, originally constructed for the Pennsylvania Canal system, held back the immense Lake Conemaugh, a vast reservoir of water. But by 1889, it was no longer a state-maintained structure, having been sold off years prior. Instead, it was owned by an exclusive and opulent retreat, the South Fork Fishing and Hunting Club. Its members were among America's wealthiest and most influential industrialists, including prominent figures like Andrew Carnegie and Henry Clay Frick, who sought leisure and recreation in this picturesque setting. In their pursuit of personal leisure and convenience, these powerful men made a fatal error. They significantly lowered the dam's height and, more critically, neglected its essential maintenance. This included the crucial outflow pipes, which were removed to create a carriageway, and the spillway, which became partially blocked, severely compromising the structural integrity of the entire dam. The spring of 1889 brought days of ceaseless, torrential rain, an unrelenting downpour that transformed the already vast reservoir into a colossal inland sea. The sheer volume of water accumulating behind the compromised dam created an unprecedented and dangerous pressure. As the water levels rose to critical heights, frantic warnings were dispatched downriver to Johnstown. However, years of previous false alarms regarding the dam's stability had unfortunately bred a dangerous and widespread complacency among the town's residents and officials, leading many to dismiss the urgent messages. Up at the club, a small group of dedicated employees fought desperately against the rising waters, knowing the immense responsibility they carried. They understood they were guarding the fate of over 30,000 people living downstream, making futile attempts to reinforce the rapidly weakening structure with mud and brush. Yet, despite their valiant efforts, the long-neglected dam, weakened by years of improper maintenance and now overwhelmed by the relentless deluge, had simply reached its inevitable tipping point. The structural compromises made for the club's convenience proved to be its undoing. At precisely 3:10 p.m. on May 31st, the South Fork Dam catastrophically failed. In less than an hour, an unimaginable 20 million tons of water, a volume equivalent to the entire Mississippi River's flow at that time, was unleashed with terrifying force, cascading down the valley. This immense torrent descended upon the valley not as a gentle flow, but as a massive, black wave, towering up to 40 feet high and traveling at speeds of 40 miles per hour. It relentlessly carried with it everything in its path: countless trees, massive boulders, helpless animals, and even the very ground itself, scouring the earth bare. The colossal wave, a churning mass of water and debris, first impacted the small villages nestled in the valley, instantly sweeping away homes and lives. The destruction was immediate and absolute, leaving no time for escape or resistance. The impact on Johnstown itself was total and instantaneous. Houses, factories, and human lives were not merely damaged, but pulverized and carried along in the terrifying, oil-slicked rush. The city was utterly overwhelmed by the sheer force of the water and debris. The colossal, chaotic wave arrived in the town not as clear water, but as a devastating slurry of thick mud, splintered wood, and tons of barbed wire, torn from the destruction of a nearby factory. This deadly mixture transformed the flood into an even more destructive force, trapping and entangling everything in its path. As the wave surged through Johnstown, an immense debris field, a horrifying collection of wreckage, began piling up against the sturdy stone bridge. For a terrifying moment, the bridge miraculously held against the unimaginable force, the sound of thousands of tons of material being crushed against its iron structure palpable and deafening. The Johnstown Flood tragically became America's deadliest flood disaster, claiming over 2,200 lives. It left a 6-mile-long valley utterly choked with wreckage, transforming the once thriving landscape into a desolate moonscape of thick mud and twisted iron, where not a single structure remained standing in the hardest-hit areas. In the immediate aftermath, the American Red Cross, under the pioneering leadership of Clara Barton, arrived to organize the first large-scale disaster relief effort not directly related to war. Her efforts brought much-needed aid and organization to the devastated community, setting a precedent for future humanitarian responses. The aftermath of the flood was a profound and lasting trauma for the survivors and the nation. The cause of this immense tragedy was undeniable: the willful and negligent actions of the dam's owners, some of the nation's most powerful and wealthy men who prioritized their leisure over public safety. Despite the overwhelming evidence of negligence, no legal accountability was ever established for the disaster, a stark reflection of the power dynamics of the era. However, the tragedy of the Johnstown Flood served as a painful and indelible lesson, forcing Americans to confront the severe consequences of corporate negligence and the need for greater public safety regulations. Ultimately, the Johnstown Flood is a story not just of the destructive power of water, but of the profound and often tragic price of unchecked progress and corporate indifference. It stands as a powerful historical reminder of the human cost when responsibility is neglected. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Eraverse for more fascinating stories and history.